Hey everybody, Rockin Robbie Billups here for Pop Culture Philosophers, and it's time for the weekly comic book review. Alright everybody, weekly comic book review. That's the show where I read a bunch of comics and I let you know what I think about them. And it's a big week this week, so let's start quickly with, as usual, the pick of the week. Hawkeye number 3. Kelly Thompson's run on Hawkeye, 3 issues in, has become one of my absolute favorite books at Marvel Comics. I like a lot of Marvel Comics right now. Moon Knight, The Wasp, Black Widow. This is really very quickly rising to the top. I cannot tell you enough about this book. It's got art by Leonardo Romero. That is fantastic. It's really, really cool. Think about Ed Brubaker's Catwoman run with Darwin Cook and how good that was. I get that kind of vibe from here. So you got cool Southern California detective story, but it's hip and it's fresh and it's unique, and I really enjoy this book. It's got excellent artwork, very simple, but it's stylized and it effectively tells the story, and it utilizes its space brilliantly. It is a $3.99 20-page comic, but it feels a whole lot bigger. Speaking of feeling a whole lot bigger, The Unstoppable Wasp number 2. This book was a treat. I loved the heck out of this book. I thought it was fantastic. It was amazing. It was unstoppable. I really liked issue 1, and issue 2 was even better. And just like Hawkeye number 3, just totally uses the medium to its effectiveness, to its fullest, giving us a very dense and rich story in a very short amount of pages. It's fantastic. I cannot say enough about these 2 books. They are killing it on these books, Marvel are. The Wasp and Hawkeye have my recommendation, like super crazy. Like, read these books. They are so good. Monsters Unleashed unleashed its 2nd issue this week, and I really liked it. Unfortunately, Greg Land does the artwork. I'm not the hugest Greg Land fan at all, but some of his monster stuff is really cool, but the story is still engaging. Cullen Bunn's doing a good job with this. I'm not sure about the upcoming ongoing series, but this is fun. It uses a bunch of people from every corner of the Marvel Universe, so you really feel like you're getting bang for your buck. It's $4.99 again, but it is a big, monstrous story that is really pleasing to me, absolutely. Jeff Lemire, Greg Smallwood, Moon Knight, number 11. I love Moon Knight. Every reservation I had when this series started, and maybe they're going to undo a lot of stuff, and about Khonshu maybe being the villain. All that's aside, I totally trust Lemire and Smallwood and the rest of the team. Amazing, brilliant artwork, especially the coloring from Jordi Belair. One of the best colorists in the business right now. I think she also does Hawkeye. Actually, yes, she does. She is an amazing colorist. This book, Moon Knight, is amazing. If you've never read it, read the Warren Ellis stuff, read the Brian Wood stuff, and then get into the Jeff Lemire stuff. It is fantastic, it is brilliant, and it is beautiful. Nova, number 3. I usually love Nova number 1s, and sometimes they lose me around 2 or 3. And number 3 has just cemented the fact that I adore this book. I love it. Seeing Richard Rider come back, that's cool, and there's a giant mystery as to how it affected him. That's really cool, and I love the character of Sam. I really do. I like seeing the 2 of them together. This book is fun. It is a blast to read. It is so cool and energetic, and it's dynamic. I love it. I think this book is amazing. Nova is really good. Marvel is doing a really good job in these last few months with some brand new titles that are like really setting a high bar for superhero comics today. Avengers number 4, Mark Waid, Mike Del Mundo. It's a big Kang story, so if you don't know a lot about Kang, this will fill you in on Kang's history. It's really cool. Del Mundo has these great giant 1-page or double-page spreads throughout the entire book. It is a beautiful book. The story, I don't know. I'm going to have to read all of it together because I'm kind of lost in the story right now, but I can totally lose myself in the artwork. This stuff is brilliantly amazing. Just a little taste. Look at this stuff. This stuff is really cool. The whole book is filled with stuff like that. Mark Waid also writes Champions number 5. It's the team with the former young members of the all-new, all-different Avengers. It's got a great cast of characters. It's the only book with Totally Awesome Hulk that I can stand. So that's pretty cool. This issue was pretty solid, right along what we're typically used to from the Champions. Unfortunately, it has Gwenpool in it, and I hate Gwenpool. Gwenpool is so annoying to me. So she was very annoying to me in the book, but it didn't distract me from the book, really. It was still fun. I don't think she's going to linger around too much, maybe an issue or two, but if she's an everyday thing, I don't know, that might be a problem for me. But otherwise, I still do like Champions. I like the book. I like seeing a team of young superheroes doing what superheroes are supposed to do, because everybody else is just fighting amongst each other and having rebirths and all that kind of stuff, right? Old Man Logan, number 17. This book has been really good. Jeff Lemire has been doing not life-changing stories, but really good stories that get into the heart of Logan and who he is, in particular, Old Man Logan. So it's really fun. Andrea Sorrentino's artwork, as usual, is pretty brilliant. It's almost perfection, almost. But it's beautiful. It's a great book to read. This is a really cool David Lynch almost type thing. There's a lot of different things that could be going on, a lot of realities going on in his head. Really good stuff, not trying to spoil it. Karnak, number 6. Warren Ellis's final issue of Karnak. In fact, the final issue of Karnak. This book has been a treat. It's taken almost 2 years for 6 issues to come out. So I'm definitely going to have to revisit this one and reread 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 again. But I did like the wrap-up. I did like it. It wraps up really, really quick, like a lot of Warren Ellis stuff does. But I did like it. I do like the point that it's trying to make. And I really love this interpretation of Karnak. I think that's really dope. Bullseye, number 1. Why does Marvel feel the need to have a Bullseye book? I don't know. I didn't really like it that much. I thought it was okay. If you're a huge Bullseye fan, by all means, pick it up. I thought it was all right. It's like a really bad action movie from like the late 80s maybe, but I don't know. I think that villains that are really like threatening lose that when you get too much of them. And this is definitely a case of, over the last few years, too much Bullseye, getting into the character too much, letting us see that he's just this like kind of goofy, I don't know. Like, you get too much of a character, a villain especially, and they're no longer threatening. And Bullseye has hit that level for me. I miss the old school Bullseye when he only showed up and just did some terrible stuff, and like, I don't know, it was threatening, but this book was not for me. Another new one that was for me, Star Wars Darth Maul, number 1. I love this book, but it doesn't take much to impress me when it comes to Darth Maul, because I am a huge fan of this character. This gets into his head, and probably the most you will ever hear him speak, or at least read him speak. But it's really cool. It takes place before Phantom Menace, but it's really, really cool. I enjoyed it. I love seeing more of Darth Maul. Cullen Bunn did this one too, and I'm telling you, it's got my seal of approval. Star Wars number 28, third part of that Yoda story. I love Yoda. This story's starting to lose me. I really think this should have been a 1 or 2 issue story. Stretching it out a little bit, I don't know. It's starting to lose me, but of course I'm going to wrap it up and finish because I like the Star Wars book. Jason Aaron's been doing a really good job on that. Here's a book that we thought Power Rangers and Justice League, that was odd. Planet of the Apes, Green Lanterns, number 1. I have no idea who came up with this idea, who thought it would be a good idea, but it was a terrible idea. This book is terrible, guys. I think it sucks, it's garbage, it's trash. If you're a huge Planet of the Apes guy, if you're a huge Green Lantern gal, I don't know. Check it out. I don't mean to offend anybody. I did not like this book, did not at all. I thought the art was terrible. I thought the writing was very elementary. It's just, I don't know. It's about as stupid as the idea sounds like to me. Superman number 16, that wraps up that multiplicity story, and it's awesome, and it leads up into some Superman Reborn stuff. Getting really, really excited for that. The artwork is really bad in here. Tony Daniel does some of it. I don't really like it. It seems like it's really, really rushed, not his typical clean style. Aside from that, I did like this issue. I like the little bit of mystery that unfolds about what's gonna happen with Superman. I don't know. They're just kind of telling us once again that there's something different about this Superman. Pay attention. And Superman Reborn's coming up. Mr. Oz is gonna have a lot to do with that. Maybe he's in here somewhere, but I love this. I loved looking back at some of these characters from Multiversity. It was a really fun treat. Batman number 16. Yeah, I'm still reading it. Why am I still reading it? Probably so most of you guys don't have to. I didn't really like it. I didn't like the banter between I didn't like the banter between all the Robins and Bruce at the Batman themed fast food restaurant. Like, I don't know. It just screams stupid to me. I'm not impressed with this. Unfortunately, I thought Tom King's Batman would be a whole lot better. Haven't really liked it. The ending is pretty intriguing and very like, whoa, and shocking when it happens, but come on, we've been reading comics for a long time. We know that ain't real. Come on. Green Lanterns number 16. Batman wants to team up with Simon and Jessica. I love this book. It's like a guilty pleasure. I love it because of the characters. I'm really intrigued by Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz. I like it. I like this book. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but I really enjoy it. I think if you're a hardcore Green Lantern fan and you haven't given this book a chance, you really, really should. It's really fun. And what's really cool about this issue is that Simon and Jessica are terrified of Batman. He's like the dick boss that you don't want to like be around. You know, like seriously, who wouldn't be terrified of Batman if he was kind of your boss? Justice League number 14. Brian Hitch actually drew this, and the artwork is really, really solid. But the story, unfortunately, I don't think Brian Hitch is a great writer. I really think that Justice League needs one of the absolute best writers in the industry at the time that it's being published. Like whoever is one of the biggest, the top 5 writers, needs to do Justice League. It's that big of a book. It has to be that big of a deal. This book doesn't feel like that big of a deal, even though Brian Hitch really, really tries, because his artwork is very cinematic and very huge, and he's trying to come up with these huge stories with emotional weight, but they always fall flat. Didn't really like this issue at all. It's a lot of talking and not much else. Aquaman number 16. Now that the whole deluge story is over and Nemo's been kind of defeated and Black Mana's done for a while, this is the new status quo of Aquaman. He's super popular amongst everybody right now, so he's kind of enjoying that, but a new threat is looming. There's a lot of talking in here, but it didn't seem as stilted and as stagnant as the Justice League dialogue did. Dan Abnett's actually really good at dialogue. I enjoy this. Brad Walker, when he does the pencils, when I first look at Brad Walker's work, especially on Aquaman, it doesn't look like something I would like, but the more I'm like, it's something about it compels me. I don't know. I really like a lot of his perspective, a lot of the angles that he uses on faces. Some of my favorite parts of Joe Quesada's artwork I see in Brad Walker. So Aquaman was actually pretty solid. Shade the Changing Girl number 5 almost made my pick of the week. Almost made my pick of the week, but didn't want to go again on another Young Animal. But this book was really, really good. This has been the one out of Young Animal that I've been iffy on. This book really gets a little bit more of the story and plot understood. You really start getting a better grasp on what's happening, and it's really cool and really intriguing, and it's got a really cool ending that for the first time out of all of this made me go, I can't wait to read the next issue. And to me, that was really, really cool. It's a cool, psychedelic, colorful, weird book with flat artwork. The artwork is very flat, but it's psychedelic, and there's something compelling about this as well. I really do like Shade the Changing Girl. Not my favorite of Young Animal, but that doesn't mean that it's not a great comic book, because I actually do think that it's a great book. Let's get into some Image Comics and other publishers. The Walking Dead 163. Yeah, I keep up with The Walking Dead. I don't know why. At this point, it's just habit. But Image is celebrating its 25th anniversary. And this issue of Walking Dead is 25 cents at my comic shop I work at, The Deep, here in Huntsville, Alabama. We're giving it away for free. It's the start of a new story. It's post-Whisperer War. But what's really cool and neat about this issue is, for the first time in maybe 100 issues or so, zombies are a big threat and a big deal. So that's really cool. Deadly Class number 26. After what happened in the 4th story, I didn't know what direction this book was going to take. They introduced a new class, and I'm kind of starting to get into those characters, and the book is kind of keeping my attention. And then issue 26 happens, and I am hooked again. I love this book. Wes Craig does the artwork. Yeah, dude, stuff is amazing. It's brilliant. The way he can do action scenes is very dynamic. It's very fluid. It moves. The sense of movement and energy that you get from his pencils, from his artwork, is amazing. The colors are fantastic as well. One of my favorite Remender books. Seriously, it's hit or miss sometimes. It does have a lull. Deadly Class does, but this really picks it up. And if guys that read, you people that read this, you're going to know what I'm talking about. It's insane. Avoid spoilers. It's really, really cool. Paper Girls number 11. That's right, Cliff Chang and Brian K. Vaughan's Paper Girls returns. I adore this book. It's one of my favorite Image books right now. I think it was one of the best comic books period of last year. It and Vision are probably my favorites. This book is amazing. If you like the show Stranger Things, it's kind of totally like that. It's very sci-fi, nostalgic. It's not just set in the 80s. There's a lot of cool time travel stuff that goes on in this book. It is weird. We are 11 issues in, and we still really don't have a clue as to what's really happening, but it doesn't feel confusing. It feels a little confusing, but in the right ways, if that makes sense. Paper Girls is an amazing book. If you've never checked it out, absolutely, you need to. Baltimore, the Red Kingdom, #1. I'm a huge Mike Mignola fan, and I love the character of Baltimore. This, I believe, is going to be one of the final arcs. I think this might be the end of Baltimore. I don't know if it is, but it's the end of this big, giant Red King story they've been building up to since day one. I like this book. If you're a fan of horror comics, it's really good. I like it. It's subtle gothic horror. I don't like all that splash in your face horror, especially in comic books. I like my comic book horror to be very subtle, and I really like Hellboy stuff. It's weird that I call Hellboy stuff subtle, because it's really not, but something about the art is just, the artwork's a little bit more subtle. I don't know. I really like it. Baltimore's a cool book. Ever since Ben Stenbeck has stopped doing the artwork, I haven't really liked it. Peter Bergding is a capable artist, and he definitely draws a whole lot better than I ever could possibly hope to. But it doesn't, I don't know, I want a cleaner art style for this, but the story is still intriguing. The artwork is still actually very good at capturing that tone and mood. Guys, read Baltimore. Give it a chance. It's really good. And I got some sad news last week. I was ranting and raving about the new issue of Jim and the Holograms. Jim and the Holograms is getting canceled, but don't worry. Writer Kelly Thompson says something's going to be coming back, possibly this summer. Stay tuned. But this week, as if they knew I was super sad, they gave me 2 Jim books. That's right. We got Jim the Misfits, right? So the Misfits have their own little thing going on. They're not popular anymore. Do they need to do a reality show? The Misfits is a super fun book. And now we have the Outrageous Annual for 2017. So 2 Jim books to help console me, as I'm very sad that Kelly Thompson's Jim and the Holograms, one of my favorite comic books, will be coming to an end in about 3 issues. So that's sad. DC Rebirth trade paperbacks have started coming out. Just want to point out that the Detective Comics trade paperback, Rise of the Batmen, is out. There's a link down below where you can buy it on Amazon and help support PCP. So that's cool. But it's a great book, and Detective Comics is my favorite Batman comic published today. I love it more than All-Star Batman, and I definitely love it more than Tom King's Batman. Who would have ever thought that James Tynion IV would have a better Batman book in my eyes than Scott Snyder and Tom King? But link down below, check it out. Good stuff. Also, in the back of those DC books, Warren Ellis talks a lot about the upcoming The Wildstorm book. Comes out in 2 weeks. I am so pumped for that book, guys. I cannot, oozing excitement. But that's what I read this week. Check out Jim. Check out Baltimore. That Walking Dead. And hey, zombies are in there again. Shade the Changing Girl got really, really good. All of a sudden, like really good. Understandably good. Superman's fun. Planet of the Apes, Green Lanterns. What? But Marvel's killing it with new books like Wasp and Hawkeye. Gotta check them out. That's what I liked. What did you like? What'd you read this week? What'd you love? Let me know down in the comments below. I love to hear you guys, what you're reading, what you like. It helps me out and gets me to reread some things sometimes. So that's really, really cool. I like the dialogue we have. Thank you guys for watching the video. Please do like, share, and subscribe. We do these every week. We also do movie reviews and other cool little things like that. You can catch all that and more at www.popculturephilosophers.com, where you will also find our podcast, which you can subscribe to on iTunes and Android and other podcast services. Thank you guys for everything. Thanks for rocking. Keep reading.